Hey folks, my name is Jason Hughes. I'm one of the owners of River Pools. We're located in Virginia. We've been installing fiberglass pools for a little over 10 years now, and we've always looked for a fiberglass pool manufacturer that gave us two things: quality and consistency. I'm excited today to share with you exactly why we feel like we found a home with Barrier Reef fiberglass pools. My business partner Marcus Sheridan and I recently took a trip to Barrier Reef's manufacturing facilities down in South Carolina. We're excited to show with you the highlights of that trip. You're going to meet Tony Walton. He's the owner of Barrier Reef Pools. You're going to take a tour of the plant, and you're going to watch Barrier Reef build their pools, and you're going to see what makes them so special. So stay tuned. You're going to meet Tony first. I'm excited to introduce you to him. He's an Australian dude with fiberglass resin flowing through his veins, and you're going to love him.
Tony, we're sitting here in your big old factory here in South Carolina. There are not many people, when they get to be an old dog like you, I'm just playing, decide all of a sudden, you know, I think I'm going to go take a trip across the ocean and start a swimming pool company. So what drove you to say, I have this here in Australia, but I want to take it to the United States?
Well, one of the reasons I come over here is because the United States has always excited me.
You saw an opportunity.
One thing about America, you can have plenty of opportunity here. There is opportunity as far as you want to push it right now in America.
Before we became Barrier Reef dealers and aficionados, you know, I watched for a while, and you grew in a time period from 2008, 9, 10, and 11, when fiberglass pool installers or builders were going out left and right because of the market. You actually grew, and you have this facility. So how did you do it?
If you got a good product, you're active in the marketplace, right? You're sincere in what you do, and you care about your product. Like, I like building swimming pools.
This is what's weird about you. It's not weird. We're not used to seeing it. You are on the floor. You're like, your hands, let me see. These things are like sandpaper, man. Well, so this is you do that differently than a lot of people.
Well, I think that with the amount of money that the consumer has to invest in a fiberglass pool, or any pool, or a large investment these days, they need to get the value for money in it, and I want to make sure it's out there.
Well, you've certainly done that, because, you know, knowing what we know about the industry at River Pools, and hearing what we hear and getting the emails that we get, you know, I mean, frankly, I get feedback about manufacturers that isn't always positive. I can definitively say, and this is what caught our eye about you, is we have never had a dealer approach us and say, I had a bad experience with Barrier Reef, they don't make a good product, or they don't have good molds, or I had cracking issues, or I had gel coat issues. Stuff that you hear, we just weren't hearing with you. And so that certainly caught our eye. And you've managed to have or build a very reputable name in a short amount of time with these builders. And so obviously that hands-on approach and that attitude that you have, I think, has gone a long way.
But it's just the way you should do business in the fiberglass industry. If we all strive to build a really beautiful pool, then the fiberglass industry will be very strong, and stronger than ever.
Well, I think that's a good finishing note there, Tony. I certainly appreciate it.
You know, Tony's one of those people that you just get a good feeling about him as soon as you meet him. It's no wonder why they've had such success over the past couple years. Now let's take a look, an inside look, at their manufacturing facility and watch how Barrier Reef builds their fiberglass pools. The first thing I saw when I went into Barrier Reef's plant was this guy polishing what's called a mold. This is what the pool's actually built on. Now later on, Tony explained that the way to get a perfect interior finish on the pool was to have a perfect mold, because any imperfection or blemish on the mold actually shows through into the pool. But that's easier said than done, because I've seen firsthand what happens when molds are neglected by fiberglass pool manufacturers. But I was blown away with the amount of pampering that Barrier Reef gave their mold. In fact, Tony referred to them as his babies. Alright, now that the mold is ready, it's actually time to start building the pool. The first application is called the gel coat, and this is the interior surface of the pool that we actually see and touch, so it's critical that this part is done right. There were two things that really stood out to me with how Barrier Reef applied their gel coat. The first was the level of pure craftsmanship required to apply such a beautiful even coat to the pool interior. Second, the high quality control standards that Barrier Reef implements into their build process. They stopped over and over again to measure the thickness of the gel coat with a special gauge to make sure the right amount was applied. The second layer of application in the fiberglass pool is called the vinyl ester resin layer. Now, the sole purpose of this layer is to act as a protective barrier within the pool. Tony explained that water actually passes through the gel coat, and when a good vinyl ester resin layer is present, the water simply hits the protective barrier then comes back out again. But with an inadequate vinyl ester resin layer, the water molecules actually combine with other contaminants and it increases in size. When it then exits the gel coat, osmotic blisters can develop on the surface of the pool. Now, everything up to this point in the build process has been about manufacturing a beautiful interior finish that's going to last a long, long time. But now it's time to add strength to the fiberglass pool with the bulk layers of fiberglass. What you see now is the application of chopped fiberglass. The purpose of rolling the fiberglass is to remove all the air and condense the laminate layer into a solid structure. Tony explained that with fiberglass, air equals weakness. As you can see, Barrier Reef applies a liberal amount of fiberglass to their pool shells. In fact, when we installed our first Barrier Reef pool, the thickness of the pool blew us away. We were used to seeing pool shells around 1/4 of an inch thick, sometimes as little as 1/8 of an inch thick. Barrier Reef pools consistently come in 2 to 3 times that thick, and after over 600 installations that we've done with all manufacturers, I can say they're far and away the strongest fiberglass pool we've ever installed. One other amazing feature of Barrier Reef pools is the liberal amount of bracing they install on the sidewalls, seats, and benches of their pools. Bracing gives the pool added strength and increases its resistance to bulges that can develop on the sidewalls. Barrier Reef installs braces about every 2 feet on the sidewalls of their pool. Other manufacturers install about half that much, or none at all. And now that the pool is built, it's time to remove the pool from the mold. From there, it'll be stored on site, then shipped to your backyard where you're going to enjoy it for years to come. We hope you have found this helpful today. If you're in the market for a fiberglass pool, we have a lot in common because we both need to find the right fiberglass pool manufacturer to work with. Now, there are 3 things that we feel like set Barrier Reef pools apart. Number 1, the quality of the interior finish of the pool. It always is immaculate. And that's because of their wonderful way that they maintain their molds and the care that they take in applying their gel coat layers and also the protective vinyl ester resin layer behind it. Number 2, the strength of their pools is unparalleled in this industry. They are consistently thicker and stronger than the other fiberglass pools that we've worked with. And number 3, a man named Tony Walton, the owner of Barrier Reef Pools, who you met earlier. He has an uncommon dedication to quality unlike anything we've seen. For those 3 reasons, we found a home with Barrier Reef fiberglass pools, and we hope that you will as well.